Yes, looks like we're live on YouTube, but we're still waiting for the other platforms to go live. This is the Business and Property Entrepreneur podcast. Just about to stream live, uncut, unfiltered. Yeah, here we go. Looks like the other platforms are going live just about now. So now I think we're live across all platforms. So I'll say that again. This is the Business and Property Entrepreneur podcast. We are live. It is unfiltered, uncut, bringing you the best of the best. No fluff, no messing around. Today we have Shane Duff. Thank you for coming on, good sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we got a wild set of questions that we want to ask you, and pick your brains on this amazing journey that you've been on. Over 23 million pounds of property deals that you've been involved in, and so many other things as well to pull out of it. So we're going to get straight into it. Yeah, and just before I do that, what I am looking for is anybody watching on whichever platform, just drop us a comment. Yeah, drop us a comment so we know who's watching, and let us know where you are watching from. Yeah, because there's also going to be some giveaways. We're going to give away some free stuff to you. You are going to be at a chance with winning some amazing prizes. Could be merchandise, could be coaching, it could be online training, could be books, it could be learning materials. It could also be two Michelin star, not even one Michelin star, a 2 Michelin star restaurant experience. Yeah, fully paid. Yeah, so let us know where you are. You got to hit the share button. You got to tag at least 10 other people in this post wherever you're watching it. So go ahead and start doing that. That will qualify you to be in for a chance to win it. So Shane, let's go back to the start. Yeah, what made you want to make a transition from professional football? Yeah, or what kind of ended your journey as a professional footballer, and why then did you decide to get into property?
Property was always something I was interested in. I didn't really choose the transition to start with. The transition kind of just happened because football kind of kicked me out because of injury. I didn't really have a choice. And it was when I went back to university, I started doing a lot of reflection. I had 3 years to essentially try and establish what I wanted to do next. But instead of watching Homes Under the Hammer, I started to get involved a little bit and started educating myself. And it just snowballed from there, really. And then when things got a bit too much to bear, I thought something's got to change here. And then Alice, my better half, she was the one, after I'd done a few years in property, she was the one who said, listen, you need to go for this. I believe in you. You believe in yourself. You know what you're doing. So we just went with it.
Nice. That's beautiful. Yeah, it's good to have the backing as well. So what was the first ever deal you did, and how did that go?
I still remember it. The first deal we had, we bought it for £153,000 and we sold it for £205,000. It was a little 2-bedroomed house with a downstairs. I still remember it to this day. I still remember how we dressed it at the end of it to stage it, and it was lovely. If I'd have kept it, it'd be worth a lot more now. But that was the one that got me going, thinking, oh my God, this can work. It wasn't great because I didn't pay myself doing it. I was the labourer on site, just humping it, filling skips, cleaning up. But I was there quite a lot in the evenings and weekends. Just I couldn't do any trade. I'm not a skilled tradesman at all. But it was the first one I thought, oh my God, there's profit. Let's do this again.
So you was working on there as well as having another job as well?
Yeah, there's a lot of skepticism around the industry. And I thought if there was an electrician there and a plasterer there and a plumber there, and I thought if they were doing things and I didn't really know what I was doing, I was worried that I might get taken for a ride a little bit. So I was very fearful about maybe just being a bit naive. And I feel like I'm very good with people, but I understand the industry is quite tough. And some people can maybe sense that naivety and thought maybe take the mick out of me a little bit. And maybe all of a sudden, rather than making any money, we lose money. That's the fear. But as it happened, so I just wanted to learn. I really wanted to understand what was going on. And I didn't want to be paying a tradesperson to be cleaning up after themselves. I was like, don't be sweeping up, I'll sweep up. If there's skips to be filled, I'll fill a skip, so on and so forth.
But were you doing all that because you said evening weekends? So were you doing a job, like a day? You had a day job, and
Yeah,
then you was doing that as well. Oh wow.
yeah, yeah. I was doing that, and that's why it was doing that. And then my firstborn came along, and that's when I started thinking, geez, I was meant to be getting into property to actually make a difference and actually spend more time with, at the time, only one child. And then I found myself, I was there less because I was
Yeah.
working all day. Then I was off in the evenings doing what needs to be done. I was there in the weekends, and we thought, listen, this is not actually sustainable long term. I'll be, yes, doing properties, but I won't actually see any more of my son at all. So that was quite a big deciding factor, really.
Yeah, so like, and it's crazy because a lot of people they do go into property because either they don't want to have a boss, they don't want to have a job, they want to do things more passive, but they end up actually spending more. They quit like a 40-hour a week job to go work 80 hours a week
Yeah.
for themselves, where they're accountable for everything now as well. So, like, what would you say was the biggest challenges you faced when you first got started, other than what you've already just said?
I would say, and even to this day, it's things cropping up that you've never encountered before. So every day is a school day. There's a new challenge just waiting to. Sometimes you think they're just hiding behind the bin on the street, and then you're walking down the street, and hey, here's another challenge. So I wouldn't say, but it's just constant. And I would say the biggest part of development that I've had to do in myself is almost dealing with the unexpected. And so many times you're thinking, hang on, so what's just happened there then? Right, okay. You collate all the information, and you're just constantly doing that. Because nothing's straightforward. Like, you make a plan and you try your best you can to execute that plan, but the plan might be 20 stages long. By the time you've got to stage 2, it's changed because some things come at you. Like, you might need an extra professional involved, or you need an extra survey to be done, or you need to get some correspondence from somebody that you didn't even know, some sort of survey, drainage, or anything like that. It's just constantly challenging, and that's where I've benefited now, because I was on my own to start with, and now I'm thinking, God, I want to be caught out less.
Yeah.
Now I try and work with people that have got fill in all those massive gaps that I've got in my own knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to touch on how you handle all that stuff. But like, hey, some comments coming through now. So let us know who is watching, where are you watching? Let us know what platform. I can see a few comments coming through. And hit the share button. Let us know you shared it so we can give you a shout out, and tag at least 10 other people. Just give them at least a chance to see this and see if they can get some gold from this, because we're talking lots of projects, lots of experience, and you can be in a chance to win some free stuff. So look, how did attending, in 2018, not 2008, 2018, how was attending, the Property Entrepreneur Bootcamp? Yeah, which was only one day back then. It's obviously 2 days today, one day back then. How did that help you shift your mindset, your strategies, and like what happened thereafter?
Sometimes just getting in a room full of people on the same wavelength and the same kind of drivers, that's sometimes huge, because sometimes you're not sure. And if you're unsure about stepping into the unknown, I would say that more often than not, you don't do it because you perceive it as a risk. Like, if you're crossing the road, you look left and you're right, and then you look left and you're right again. You're almost double checking, triple checking. And I think sometimes that doubt comes into your mind of, why would you do it? Like, I wouldn't have ever quit my job on my own without Alice being there to say, go and do it, because I felt as if I was letting her down. And obviously my oldest boy, Oscar, I was like, well, my life's going backwards here. I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be putting them in jeopardy. But I needed them to just give me a bit of a shove. So when you go into the one-day event, as it was back then, just being surrounded by people and actually just giving you a bit of a nudge forward, it just gives you that little bit of momentum and encouragement to take that step. And then before you know it, you've taken that step and you're okay.
Yeah.
You're not. I haven't died, or I haven't lost £200,000, which the gremlins get in your head.
Yeah. And hey, I got one more question on this subject before we move on, because I want to get into navigated listed buildings and the 23 million pounds worth of deals you've been involved in, raising 9.5 million pounds of investor finance. But at what point did you realize that you could go all in and like make property like a full-time gig?
It was when, I can't remember how many deals I was in, but I was in a few deals, and I just thought, do you know what? If I get an offer accepted, I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit the job. So we didn't have any cash flow coming in, and we got the offer accepted, and we went, listen, worst case scenario, this isn't gonna. If it doesn't do very well, we'll still make a little bit of money. If it really doesn't do very well, I'm gonna have wasted 8-9 months of my life. My ego would have taken a bit of a hit, but it wouldn't have killed us, and I'd have gone back and got another job. Someone gave me perspective. Actually, they gave me perspective and said, Shane, if this doesn't work out, what will you do? And he asked me, am I employable? And I said, yeah, I think so. He said, well, you just get another job, don't you? So again, I thought the risk was so much greater than what it actually was. When at that period of my life, it wasn't that much of a risk, because I'd already put the work in for a few years previously, and I really backed myself. I know what I'm like as a character too. I'm not someone that says, oh yeah, I'll do this and then I won't. And I know that I've got the ability within inside myself, intrinsic values to follow through.
That's what I love about like coaching, training, working with athletes, of all stature, because they got a certain mindset. Because it's very similar for myself. It was around January, probably coming to the close of the end of January, and I was like, look, if we're going to make this happen, I was like, I got enough money till May to basically live. Yeah, and I was like, so basically by May we better start making money, or that's it. Yeah, and like you say, when you put it in. So let's get into raising finance, because this is still vastly misunderstood. But I just got a few questions. I just want you to like quick fire your years of wisdom, and basically, nearly £10 million of private investor finance. That's nothing to do with banks. That's nothing to do with the other ways you've raised finance. So how did you raise your first chunk of investor money?
I'll never forget my first one. And I was doing a bit of a challenge, and I went live. And I had notes. I had notes. I still remember it. I had a tree behind me. I still remember where I was, and I was like talking, and I had a little look. And a few of my mates even commented or sent me some messages saying, "Oh, have you got a notepad there, mate?" And I'll never forget it. And then all of a sudden, I got a message from someone who I was connected with, but I didn't have a friendship with them at all. And they said, "Oh, they might be interested." They had known me from previous years, known of me, but not actually knew me. And it kind of went from there. And I was like, "Wow," because I was really reluctant to do this. I didn't want to expose myself on any social media platform as borrowing any money, just because I thought it was wrong. Because I thought everyone was doing me a favor, and I'm thinking, who am I to raise any money or anything like that? But then actually, I was earning them money, and equally, they weren't ever going to lend me money. They didn't feel as though I was worth it. So I had to really, really turn my own mindset into thinking, you are worth this investment, and actually, you need to just demonstrate, tell people that you're working on a daily basis, and share my own journey, and even beyond. By documenting my own journey through social media and talking to lots and lots of people, I've had opportunities come to me. From a couple of deals that we worked on, I've been people maybe bumping into me going, "Oh, Shane, you're in property now. I need your opinion on this." And next thing you know, within 6 months, we bought that property and we're renovating it.
And that's the cost of inaction that people don't measure or they don't know about, because it's like, many times I've finally like raised a finance or been in touch with an opportunity because it was someone who knew someone who knew someone who knew someone who knew someone. You know what I mean? And it's like, imagine if the first stone wasn't dropped in and we didn't get all the ripple effect.
Yeah.
So what would you say, if you were to just summarize, what's the biggest misconception people have about, raising private finance?
I think people need to feel as if they've done loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of deals in order to demonstrate credibility. But I say to people, and some of my coaching clients now, I say, if you want to be the best violin player in the world, how do you behave? And go, you practice as if you are one and you get better. I'm like, well, if you're a property investor, demonstrate that you are one. What is it you're doing? What is it you're learning? Do you have a coach? Do you have a mentor? Are you attending networking events? Actually demonstrate by what you do on a daily basis that you're worthy of this investment. And actually people, whether like I've asked recently, do I do a morning routine? I do. And little things like that. If people say, I'm going to do this routine, and they stick to it, and in 6 months' time they're still doing it, it kind of tells me they're not just someone who operates on motivation. They're someone who operates on commitment. And that's a huge thing. If people see you're committed, not blind commitment, but if they see you're committed, and actually what if you demonstrate commitment, I like to think that people will realise when the chips are down, are you still going to be there battling through, or are you going to be a little bit flighty and take the easy option? And I think that's a huge value. I probably value that in other people, so I think I kind of value it in myself because I value that as a value. Other people may be different, but it's worked quite well now. And I don't lead a lavish lifestyle. I drive around a little tiny car, and it's great because I love how everyone just takes the mickey out of me for the car that I drive. And I just go, hey, I'm not spending other people's investment on my lifestyle. And everyone goes, that's a fair point. Whereas sometimes it's maybe flipped, and where people might try to present, oh, look at me, aren't I successful through different medium? I kind of like to play the bit of a bashful fool, so to speak, and be a little bit more relatable.
Yeah, and that's a problem that like some people are very clever at marketing and people seduce people and all the rest of it. It's like, but when you truly know how money makes money, I like my money's, having babies. Yeah, I like my sending my money out there and it coming back to give me more. Once you know, it's hard to put it into something that's like not practical.
Yeah.
And I totally get you. I think we're on the same page. Hey, listen, I've got so many more questions. I know we've got our private, tribe business Monday session coming up. So I really want to quick fire these at you. Okay. Yeah. So, so basically, what would be like just the number one key advice if someone was struggling to get investors to say yes? Like, what would you say they need to do?
Look at themselves. And are they investable? If they've got any doubt on themselves, they're probably talking to potential investors, and they're probably sending subconscious messages to them thinking, don't invest in me because I wouldn't even invest in myself. Demonstrate. Like people sometimes say to me, coaching clients go, I can't raise money. I'm like, would you lend yourself money? And if they go, I'm like, well, there you go. You need to change that straight away. That's nice. So otherwise, you're just going to be talking to people for the sake of talking to them.
Yeah. So how would you structure an investor deal to make it really attractive while also protecting yourself and them?
We've got to find out what they need, essentially. Different investors want to invest for different reasons. We found in the past that some people really want to be involved in the process of what, like, if we've invested some money with you, is it in a particular deal? Or some people just not really interested. Some people just actually, I've not seen what you're up to. And you send them updates like every few months. And they're like, oh, did you read the last update? Oh, no, I didn't actually. I'm like, I didn't know whether to be offended or complimented that they were self-assured. But I think risk. People ask me what my job description is, and I just say I'm a risk manager, because ultimately that's what I would say I am. I take great care of other people's money purely because I thrive on reputation. Your reputation is not always right, but you die with your reputation. And if that's a good one, and people can look at me and say, do you know what, he's a good guy, looked after us, and I put them first. I say I've got a very good relationship with all of our investors.
So this is one of people's big fears, right? Have you ever lost money?
Lost money? What, other people's investors' money?
Yeah, either other people's or your money, or lost money on a deal.
Yeah, we've had deals that, when you say determined, we thought we were going to make X, but we made a bit less. We're like, oh, that was painful. So it profited, but not as much as what we wanted it to. So yeah, that we didn't win as much as we wanted to. It was like COVID. We had trying to sell some houses, and just the first lockdown, we had to keep houses from March through to the October, November, and it cost us loads of money in interest. Like, we still profited a good amount of money out of the deal, but it could have been so much better.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, hey, listen, if you guys are watching, listening, wherever it is, drop a message, hit the share button, drop comments in. If you want me to keep bringing awesome people like this with all this experience and then keep sharing it, then do go ahead and do that. Make sure you like and follow and subscribe, whatever platform it is you're watching on. We've got more awesomeness to come. So, in being involved in over 23 million pounds worth of property deals, loads of different ones as well, HMOs, commercial conversion, service accommodation, developments. Like, what's your favorite strategy and why?
Favorite? I quite like the one we just finished one now, which is a flip where you purchase you add value to it, and you sell it. It hasn't sold yet, so it might not be my favourite in a few months. But it seems to be a quicker turnaround, because some of the projects you get involved in, like we're doing one right now, which is one of them was a listed building. We've got another one going through now, which is a 18-bedroom HMO in a conservation area, and they take a lot of capital, and they take just much longer to get from a start to an end. So I quite like the flip strategy. However, as soon as you've got the money and you profited out of that one deal, you've got the money, then you're thinking, what next? You kind of just throw it into the next one. It's almost, it feels like not real value. Whereas if you build it up a bit of an equity base and an asset base, it's quite nice to do that too. So we like to mix across a multitude of strategies just to mitigate our risk, really.
Absolutely, that's for sure. What's been your most challenging deal, and how did you overcome any of the obstacles?
Challenging deal was probably our biggest deal, actually. We took on a half-built site, which was never easy. It turned into a probate deal, also multiple other people involved, and that's when I really started working with other business partners. Again, just to mitigate the risk. We ended up with, it was a deal that I found myself personally, and I probably personally found the majority of the money that went into it. But yeah, that was great. But I didn't have the knowledge to turn this deal around. So that's when I was really active in looking outwards to try and get some other expertise and not call them professionals, and actually make them stakeholders and shareholders. So in that particular deal, we ended up having 4 shareholders. And yes, it split the profit 4 ways, but I wasn't worried about that. I was only worried about, let's focus on the risk and let the upside take care of itself. And I'd have done that deal for no money, purely because I'm like, if I can do that and come out with a business and a platform, I'll be happy. And that we got together on that deal. When was it? It was the end of 2018, early 2019. We bought it, and my business partner from then is still my business partner now.
Amazing. Yeah, action creates opportunity. So obviously, we're always discussing what's working, sticking together with our, real life tribe community and so on. But like with the market constantly changing, like how do you decide like what type of deal or what to go after next?
We find it's really difficult to have a long-term plan at the moment, just because with so many things with legislation, different governments coming in, tax laws, inheritance tax. But equally, that changes what we go after as a hunting brief. Because the market might change slightly, and there might be now landlords, you might be able to go out and find yourself some decent deals because their motives have changed a little bit. So I would say getting in and out can be good, but again, in and out in a flip, that could be nice because you're transactional. If you're less exposed to market fluctuations, if the length of your deal is less than 12 months, for instance, so you're less susceptible to any, you're not open to any damage, I guess. I come back to the original question, but I do like the asset building ones. If we don't like taking easy projects on. I don't know why. I think we probably attract the more complex ones because we like to be solutions to problems.
Yeah. So keep tagging. You need to tag at least 10 people. Tag more people, you'll be more of a chance to win these getaways and these chances to do that. Let's get into this then. Is it? Did you ever have a deal that you did that like you wish you never touched?
Well, yeah, actually, one that we wish we never touched was one that never got off the ground. When you say we lost money, actually, we lost money on this one where we did. It was a conditional contract. We went in, we agreed. It was a plot of land where we wanted to put 3 houses on there, and then we just couldn't agree. The sellers of this land they wanted a price for the land with planning permission, but didn't have planning permission. But it was going to cost us £32,000 to get planning on it. And we said, well, you can't do that. So we wanted to exchange contracts, then go and spend some money, but we just couldn't agree. And we ended up pulling out of it, but we're already several £1,000s into that deal. So on that one, naturally, you put a lot of work into it, a lot of time into it. You put some fees into it, and you end up walking away. They're frustrating. But where I am in my role, because we've got other people coming into the business now with much more expertise in the building side than I do. I spend a lot of time walking those blind alleys, just trying to create opportunities, just to see what's around. I kind of spend a lot of my time wasted it feels. And I sometimes like, God, what have I got to show for those 2 days I've just had? It's kind of just get up and go, get up and go, get up and go. But then something comes out of nowhere, you know?
Yeah, but it's always the lessons, isn't it? Like like, you know, okay, we make money, but what's more value than money? I believe it's just the lesson, because you know, and I heard this from Donald Trump as well, and I've experienced myself, some of the best deals are the ones you don't do.
True.
Yeah, but people don't always look at it that way. Let's touch on a little bit of like all these different types of hard projects or difficult projects. Yeah, you know, what should investors know before, you know, taking on anything like listed or a conservation area or anything like that?
Yeah, listed. It's a completely different ball game. Listed. We did one which was, he thought, oh, it's easy. It's already got planning permission on to be a 9-bedroom HMO, and to get planning to be a 10-bedroom HMO took 10 months. You're thinking, all you're doing is changing one room. But again, my mantra of putting round pegs in round holes. Don't just use any architect. Use people that are completely on board with listed buildings, heritage specialists. I'm actually helping a guy out currently with his family home is collapsing, and it's listed buildings. So straight away, I've gone out into my network, got structural engineers involved, heritage consultants involved, and brought them all together, working with the heritage department over in Oxfordshire. Just because those people need to be the people that advise and consult on this, because if you get it wrong, they can come on down on you like a ton of bricks, and nothing's easy. And I think if you start getting on the wrong side of the conservation officers, you're onto a loser from day one. And property can be difficult at the best of times, so set yourself up to win and work with the people that are going to help you move forward. Some of them might cost some money, but they'll be well worth their money.
And I think it's like, you know, the biggest challenge is if you like starting something, you're on a timeline and you get stopped or blocked by something that's like, can't do anything now until the planning is done. Or, you know, I remember one time we needed to upgrade the water service and we thought, okay, not a problem. We went to go and do it. It was like, you can only do, because you need roadworks, you can only do it in school holidays because it's near like a traffic light junction. And it's like, fracking out, how could you, you know, plan for that? Like, it's just, I mean, now I know, but yeah. You know, it's crazy still. So, okay, yeah, I mean, I'm excited. You know, we're going to go in more depths with our community here, and I know we've got to be quick. We only got like about 5 more minutes left here. So, let me ask you, why did you decide to start your own construction company?
Because again, when you're relying on other people, it can sometimes become painful. You're working on their timelines, and when the proverbial poo hits the fan for them in their business and their eye, are they going to prioritize themselves or are they going to prioritize us? And we just felt, I thought we were really good at controlling the finance, really good at controlling the purchase of the deal, really good at the end of the project, doing what we were going to do. But we always felt as if we wanted a bit more control in the delivery of the project. So we've gone out there and we brought in a guy now that's going to be part of us called Adam. And he's got experience of leading a team of builders himself. So what he sees in us, that we can essentially fast forward his journey, maybe 5 years. But actually, we think if he can really niche down on that and build our own team, there's nothing worse than saying, oh, actually, that wall's in the wrong place. Can it just be moved a little bit? He goes, oh, well, that's 150 quid. Well, actually, we can just move it now. But again, bringing other characters into it, he is a strong character, but bringing him in, there's going to be some challenges. There's going to be like the dynamic is going to change a little bit, but we fully believe that this is definitely the way forward to build this business and just be better, because you're always just striving to be better than what you are.
Okay, good. So we're going to go further into that into the BMS session coming up. So I've got some questions now. Quick fire though. These are going to be quick fire question, quick fire answer. Yeah. So it's around mindset, lessons learned from the journey, right? So anyone starting out listening, you're going to want to listen to this. Tag some people if they're just starting out or they want to start out. So if you had to start your journey again today, no money, no network, what would you do first?
Get a business partner.
Okay, good. What's the biggest mindset shift that you took from small deals into doing over 20 million?
that bigger's not always daunting.
Ah, nice. That's good for someone starting out. Yeah. So what's been your toughest moment in property and how did you push through?
Toughest moment in property is dealing with unresponsive solicitors. You feel like you want to shout at someone, but they're not there to shout at.
Okay, good. So what advice would you give to people who want to get into property but are full of doubt?
Full of doubt. Speak to people that are doing it and speaking to people that are just ahead of you. Sometimes if you speak to people too far ahead of you, they're at the other end of the spectrum. They've maybe made a lot of money. They might encourage you not to do anything because so many people I know, they say, God, I've made X amount of £1 million in property, but if I knew now what I knew then, I wouldn't ever do it. So yeah. I think it's good to speak to those people just ahead of you and learn from those as well as the people way ahead, but not just the people that are way ahead.
Brilliant. So if you could go back to 2018, give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Do it in 2016. Just do it a bit quicker and do it a bit earlier.
Listen, I so many people, they come and they're like, oh, Mark, I've been watching you for 2 years. And, you know, I finally came to your event. And I'm like, you know how many people tell me that? It's like, just when you first see it, let's go. Okay, good. So what's next for you? Where do you see your business or your portfolio in the next 5 years?
I see it as building a lot more. But I think if we can bring our own team in, which we're in the process of doing it, I think what we'll be able to do, we'll be able to control our build cost a little bit more. We'll potentially be able to be a little bit more aggressive on the purchase phase without taking any more risk because we don't like taking any risk. I just noticed someone's commenting there. This is Fanny Schnee. She was at Millionaire Mind Intensive, Mark, back in 2018 in the Ibis Hotel. And Fanny was the first person up on the stage in a red jumper, right? The first volunteer, yeah. And we got talking.
I remember.
Now we work together.
I love it. Okay, good. So we got to get even faster now because we run out of time.
Sorry.
So how can people connect with you if they want to learn from you or what you're doing?
Either through the Real Life Group is one of the coaches, on Instagram, Leckhampton Property Group.
Yeah, love it. What's one action step you would recommend to anyone listening who wants to build a property business in 2025?
Go to a networking event. I encourage you to come to the next 2-day event, which is coming up very, very soon, just to come in and do some window shopping, have a little look. You don't lose anything by being there and see what it's about.
Yeah. And why should people take advantage of like training, mentorship, instead of trying to figure it out by themselves?
Because there's so much information out there. Like, you don't need anyone to be a property investor because all the information is on Google. But actually what you don't know is that information applied at the right time. And that's where other people and their experiences and expertise, and just sometimes it's different people's opinions, and it's knowing whose opinions to seek, because everyone will give you their opinion, but whether it's good or not, only you can determine. So I'd be very cautious about who you speak to. Yeah. So if someone's listening and they're on the fence of coming to the Property Entrepreneur Bootcamp, what would you say to them? And people listening who's been as well, you can type, what you would say to them. I would say, if you're going to go to an event that's not going to cost you any money and it's going to take you some time, are you going to regret going to it and wasting 2 days of your life? Or are you going to regret not going to it? Yeah, nice one. Okay, good. So a couple more things. We've got to get even faster. I'm going to sacrifice it so we'll have an abrupt end. But what's one thing in property you think most gurus are lying about? How easy it is. Because it's not easy. It's really, really not easy. It's a very challenging industry with lots of different professionals involved. And it takes a good character to be able to navigate your way through. But you need to do it with other people, I believe. I've got loads more, but I'm going to squeeze one more in. What's one belief you had when you started that turned out to be completely wrong? People will invest money in you and you can earn other people a lot of money. Okay, awesome. Thanks for coming on, Shane. You've been amazing. Thank you, everyone else. Reach out, let us know in your comments, put #live or #replay if you're watching it on replay or watching it live. Until next time, do the right thing for the right reason. See you the way you discover your true potential. See you next time.